You know, I wish that I could say I didn't know that I was at risk. The reality is that probably about 2 years or 3 years before I was finally diagnosed, I had been having these abscesses under my arms. And the doctor that I had at the time said that her experience had been that when people have these abscesses repeatedly, that sometimes it means that they're diabetic. And so she did a glucose tolerance test with me, and it turned out that I was glucose intolerant, and she suggested that I lose 60 pounds or more, and that would probably help me avert getting diabetes. And unfortunately, instead of losing 60 pounds, I actually, over a 3-year period, gained 60 pounds and became diabetic. There's this denial, I think, that people go into as it relates to being a diabetic. And so there's a way that I think that you understand intellectually that you are supposed to eat a certain way. Over time, you begin to understand that you don't have to deprive yourself. It's a matter of being aware of the carbs and the sugars and balancing, you know, what you eat. But when you first start, before you've talked to a nutritionist, before you understand the issues, you're in denial, and you just figure, you know, if I don't eat a lot of something, but I can still have anything I want. And I think that there is a certain level of truth to it, but you don't have the skill and the knowledge base to evaluate what it is that you're eating. And so I would say that, you know, for the first period of time, and I do mean for a long period of time, I think I was in denial. I don't think that I checked my sugar as often, because it was a while before I had a glucometer. And it certainly was a long time before I went to a nutritionist and understood, you know, the severity of what I was going through. I don't even remember, if I tell you the truth, how long after my diagnosis was before I ever had an A1C check. Because once I started to understand what an A1C indicated, that gave me a sense of direction. What's interesting to me is that I now feel like somewhat of an expert on diabetes, so I spend a lot of time talking to family members as well as friends about some of the issues that I better understand about diabetes. But I tell you what, now that I think about it, I had a sister and an aunt who had diabetes before I was diagnosed. And if nothing else, what I did was started to understand better some of the issues that my sister faced as a diabetic, because I could not understand for the life of me why she wouldn't just do what she was supposed to do. And now I understand that all these sugary drinks end up making you crave sugar. But before I got diagnosed, my eating habits were not great, for sure. But because I would get so thirsty from drinking sweet drinks, I only drank water. I never drank a lot of sweet drinks, and I still don't, but that was because they made me so thirsty, whereas my sister just craved them and drank them all the time. And now I kind of understand that better, now that I understand diabetes. Well, I would say that the first success, and there have been several, I would say, but let me say before I mention my success that this is an ongoing battle for me. But I would say that the biggest success is going from having an A1C of 10.7 to what is now 7.2, and has been as low as 6.1. And so I would say that's the biggest success. I would also say that making different choices, consciously making different choices. I don't have a lot of self-control, and so as a result, I don't bring a lot of things into my house that I know I shouldn't have. On occasion, I will. And actually having something like sherbet in my freezer and knowing that I can't eat a lot of it because it will send my glucose level out of the roof, I actually make choices and decide based on what I've had to eat that day that I can't have it. And so I would say, one, having a serious consciousness about what different foods, what the different impacts that different foods will have on my glucose level, and actually making choices that mean that I don't end up, being out of control in a given day. It's a day-to-day struggle, but on those days where I really am consciously making choices, reading food labels is a big deal to me. Actually making a choice not to purchase something because I know that it has more carbs and more sugar than I know it needs to have. Those are things that I feel really good about, even as I know that I struggle from day to day when I'm adhering more than other times.